Ilhan Omar connected to fraud, which I know nobody's shocked. He wrote a clip.
So Ilhan Omar's possible ties to a massive Minnesota fraud scheme are back in the spotlight. That after one of the scheme's alleged orchestrators was arrested in Somalia just last week. Garrett Tenney's watching that. Midwest Bureau with more. What details do you have now, Garrett? Hello there.
Hey, Bill, good morning to you. This guy who was arrested was allegedly one of the orchestrators of the massive Feeding Our Futures fraud scheme. And when he was charged 4 years ago, Abdikerm Idle fled the country. His name came up a lot during the trial of the now convicted ringleader of the scandal, Amy Bach. And that trial also exposed multiple communications they had with Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's staff. For example, in February 2021, there was an email chain between Bach and Omar's office with the subject line, "Help with USDA food programs," the same programs that were targeted by the fraudsters for more than $250 million. A couple weeks later, Bach sent Idle an email with the subject line, "Ilhan's office." There was also a string of text messages between Bach and Omar's staff. What did all of those messages say? Well, we don't know that because they were sealed by the court. And when Minnesota lawmakers investigating the fraud requested Congresswoman Omar to turn those records related to her office's contacts with individuals who've been charged or convicted in the scheme, she refused.
It's not like a one-off. She has relationships with many of those who've been convicted or charged in this scheme. So I think it's absolutely relevant that we get to the truth of what those communications with her office were.
Omar has not been charged or accused of any crime connected to the fraud, and she denies any wrongdoing, telling Fox Digital, "Any claim that I had knowledge of this scheme is flat out false. As I stated from the beginning, stealing millions of dollars under the guise of feeding hungry children to bankroll lavish lifestyles and extravagant expenses is reprehensible." State GOP lawmakers are now calling on congressional investigators to take this on, to issue their own subpoena for those records. Bill?
Now, I wouldn't have a problem with them saying, or Ilhan Omar, if she was saying, I have nothing to do with that. Just because these fraudsters tried to communicate with my office and my staff, never communicate with me directly, I have nothing to do with it. There could be people that I've met before that I have taken pictures with, and I have met, and they do crazy stuff. They ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't know these people doing that stuff. I ain't got nothing to do with it. And I will say it flat out. You won't find me hiding and running from somewhere. If somebody was associated with me and they did something they ain't supposed to do, I'm going to flat out say they wrong. I don't support that, and they wrong. They're wrong. They're wrong, 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 wrong. I'm not covering for you. I'm not saying that. They're wrong. And if you got investigated because you done something crooked, and the investigators want to say, hey, can we see the communications between you and this person because this person is caught up in something? Here, man, it's all the messages I've ever sent this person. Why would you try to hide it? You know why they hiding it. Because she knows she didn't say something, and you know, some of the communications would allude to the fact that she had some knowledge of the stuff that they were doing, or she was in on it, a part of it to some degree. That's why she don't want to share it, in my opinion. Why wouldn't you? Unless you're a fraud. All right, here goes Byron Donalds in his quick statement about this. This is the longest, I got 20 seconds left, that I've ever heard in my life. Wrote a clip.
I have just 20 seconds. I want your thoughts. Ilhan Omar, should she be expelled from Congress? The president said possibly even the country. Looks like there's no record of her being a naturalized U.S. citizen through her father. She might have lied about married the brother. What do you think?
Time out. Pause. She left him 4 seconds. Come on, Byron, because he a G. He can take care of business. Roll it.
If she's not naturalized citizen in our country, she's ineligible to be in Congress. So yes, she should be removed.
Short and sweet, baby. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about this before. There's been already over 2,000 lawsuits pending against GLP-1 drug makers and making things like Ozempic and some of these other drugs that you guys are aware of. And the lawsuits are mostly based on intestinal issues. Now, I know you guys have heard this on the internet and people talking about their digestive system being stopped up because of some of these particular GLP-1s. But the thing is that they're not putting the stuff on a label. So that's the biggest problem. They got these side effects and things that are happening to people, and they're not advising you of the issues beforehand. And since I initially thought of this, and since this was brought to my attention, it has now gotten even crazier There's over 4,000 new lawsuits. And I know a lot of people have heard of the Ozempic face. And I've seen it plenty of times. And it's almost like you could tell when somebody got Ozempic face. They just get skinny and weird right here. And so, of course, I'm not the expert on this topic, but I obviously have seen this occur. It's very problemsome, and I think people need to be paying attention to this, especially when lawsuits are involved. But, of course, y'all know that I like to bring on the experts if I don't know exactly everything around a topic that I'm speaking of. So I have the senior health advisor from Brightcore, Ellie Hirsch, here to join me to talk about this GLP-1 nightmare and also Ozempic face. So, Ellie, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it is. It's not pretty, right? Ozempic face is not pretty, right? You've lost the weight, but now you look awful. So a lot of people always wonder, like, what causes Ozempic face? And it's really the significant weight loss and how fast it's happening, right? So it causes your fat to kind of vanish super quickly, and then you have this depletion. So it leaves your skin with reduced elasticity, sagging, hollow cheeks, sunken eyes, and then your wrinkles intensify because the skin cannot shrink as fast as the fat disappears. You end up looking older, actually. But honestly, Ozempic face, it's kind of the least of your worries if you're taking these drugs, because the health issues are just insane. It's causing vision loss, stomach paralysis, complete organ failure, but now it's being linked to mood disorders, psychological disorders like anxiety and depression, hair loss, especially in women, pancreatic inflammation, and something, I don't know if you've heard of this, called Ozempic breath. So, it's a term that's describing this foul smelling breath, metallic taste. Yeah, almost like a fishy smelling burp. So more and more people are reporting this. So you look strange, you smell strange. So never good. And of course, as mentioned, it's causing all these health issues and not good on the inside or the outside. So,
there's another, I guess, side effect that I've heard about, and it is pretty much going blind. So I couldn't imagine if you wake up one day, you skinny as you want to be, your face looks crazy, but then now you somehow cannot see. So what is this Ozempic blindness? I think we have a clip.
Man, yeah.
We got a clip, roll a clip.
Another popular weight loss drug used by millions is now at the center of a growing number of lawsuits.
Yeah, one Maryland man says that it cost him his sight. He is speaking out after suddenly going blind in both eyes and claims the makers of Ozempic failed to warn patients about a potential risk.
Fox 5's Katie Barlow joins us now live with this exclusive story. Katie.
Todd Engel was a truck driver for Howard County Highways back in 2023 when his doctor prescribed him Ozempic for his diabetes. Then around New Year's Eve that year, he suffered a stroke and lost vision in his right eye. Now, he kept taking the drug, unaware of a potential connection. But 10 months later, he lost complete vision in his left eye. And now he's legally blind, diagnosed with Nion. Nion is the leading cause of sudden vision loss. And in his lawsuit, Engel claims that the drug makers were aware that Ozempic is associated with an increased risk of Nion and failed to disclose it.
I was terrified because the first thing that came to my mind is forget my job, but being able to see my wife again.
Engel's wife, Shelley, has to help him with everything now, from going to the bathroom in public to driving to see family. The Engels had to buy new dishes with a half-inch lip on the outside to prevent Todd from dropping his food.
If I was cutting a small steak, I'm not sure if I'd be able to eat much of it.
He had to leave his job as a truck driver.
And I went in and I told them what happened, and I cried in front of my supervisors because I couldn't see anymore. I wasn't able to do my job that I really, really enjoyed and I loved doing.
That's a terrible, terrible situation to be in. I mean, goodness gracious, losing your sight is astronomical. What's your thoughts on that, Ellie?
Well, I mean, if you know the whole story, it gets even worse and more heartbreaking. So, hearing about he'll go into a store with his 7-year-old granddaughter, she'll hold him by the hand and say, "This way, Pop," kind of pulling him along like a puppy dog. And while he's grateful for the compassion that people and, his young grandchildren show him, he's embarrassed by this disability because he's been independent his whole life. And it's all because of a drug that he took. And, there are even instances of sudden death. This guy I read about, Rob Briggs, perfectly fine. He died within hours of catastrophic internal bleeding. They were able to resuscitate him, but, he had severe brain damage. So his wife had to make the horrible and difficult decision to pull him off life support. I don't know if you've heard about Marsha Eddinghoff. So she was taking Ozempic for only 6 months before developing severe nausea and persistent vomiting. So within a few days, she choked on her vomit and died. I mean, these are horrible, horrible stories, all because they wanted to lose weight and, trusted the drug makers.
Yeah, and the bad thing is, it's not just the person's desire to lose weight. It's the drug makers not disclosing this stuff. Like, if you advise people that, hey, you could die or you could go blind, and you put it on the label, and it'll be fair. But, we have an article that we have where the Epic Times, I think it's the Epic, no, it's not, yeah, it's the Epic, no, Economic Times, where they have, some evidence that Ozempic could possibly be hiding the fact that people are dying from using Ozempic and some of these other GLP-1s.
Yeah, I mean, the FDA has actually accused Novo Nordisk of failing to properly, report how many actual cases of serious side effects, even the deaths, are associated with the drug. So people just don't know about it. They trust, right? I do want to switch gears for 1 second and just ask you, where do you think GLP-1 drugs come from? Your answer is surprising, I will tell you that.
Where they come from, meaning what region of the
just
world?
like, where does it originate from? What do you think?
Oh, I have no idea. I have no idea.
I didn't think
I'm
so.
hoping
I
it's
didn't
nowhere
think
that's
so.
bad.
Okay, so it's from a very, very large lizard. You ever hear of the Gila monster?
Oh, yeah. We got Gila monsters here in Arizona.
Woo! Scary looking creature.
Oh, yeah. And they're poisonous. They're super dangerous.
Yes, yes.
So they come from the Gila monster?
Yes, they come from the Gila monster. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to look like a Gila monster. I don't want to smell like a Gila monster. So, it's really scary if you really, really look into all these things. A lot of people ask me, how do these drugs actually work in the body, right? Like, what's going on?
Gila monsters, an iconic creature of the desert Southwest. And apparently, the scaly reptiles held the secret to modern weight loss.
They have a slow metabolism, and they can go on 2, 3, 4 meals in a given year and usually do just fine.
In the late 1980s, scientists started looking into a specific Gila monster gene.
But I think later, towards the end of 1990s, they discovered this specific protein in the Gila monster's venom, which was able to potentiate the effects of insulin made by our own bodies. And that was the protein that they sort of used to then come up with all these GLPs that we now had.
Gila monster venom is a large part of what helps them go for long periods of time without eating. And though humans still need more than 3 to 4 meals a year, it is one of the effects of GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic that have become quite popular for losing weight.
So they function because they slow down the metabolism and your digestive process, which is why stomach paralysis is so common, because sometimes it slows it down so much, it stops working completely. And so what happens is you essentially are forced to go on a starvation diet. Then malnutrition comes in, which plays a part in worsening depression. Humans are not meant to survive off 5 meals a year, right? So this form of weight loss causes you to lose more muscle than fat. So I don't know if you've heard of skinny fat, but yeah, you're losing weight, but you're getting fatter. So yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think we have a clip. I think we have a clip about this. That's so funny you said that before we play the clip. Skinny fat. It's so funny because I thought that was the craziest thing when people were saying it. Like, there's a lot of women that said, "Oh, I'm skinny fat. I'm skinny fat." I'm like, how you skinny and fat at the same time? And then I started to realize what that looks like. You're skinny, but you have a lot of flab and everything else going on, and so you don't really look and feel like you're actually skinny. But here's the clip. It looked like from Megyn Kelly's show.
I'm sure you're very familiar with the latest craze with semaglutide, which is an injectable drug that has
Ozempic.
Yeah, Ozempic being the diabetes version of that, Wegovy being the pure weight loss version. It's the same drug, just a different name. What I see behind the scenes of what it's doing to people, and I'm sure other doctors can tell you similar stories. Ideal weight loss would be if you lose 20, 15 of it should be fat, 5 of it should be lean mass. So you can't just lose fat mass, but 3/4 of your weight loss should be fat mass. When we're putting patients on these drugs, we're doing DEXA scans before and after. This is something the FDA did not require the company to do when they sought approval. We're seeing 2/3 of the weight loss is lean mass. Only 1/3 is fat mass.
Wow.
So they're getting lighter, Megan, but they're getting fatter.
That is crazy. That is crazy.
Yeah. Worst diet ever, right? This loss of muscle mass is leading to things like osteopenia, osteoporosis, which is causing something else called Ozempic bones. This is downright scary. I don't know if have you seen this before?
Yeah. We got a little picture of this.
Yeah.
Dang, that's crazy.
Right?
That's fragile. I mean, you literally, the bone looks like it cannot handle weight and any of the normal things that the bone's supposed to be able to handle, especially if this is your femur. Imagine walking somewhere or lifting something and your femur snap in half because it's hollow. That's crazy.
Yeah. You would expect to maybe see this in someone who's much, much, much older. But there was a video earlier in the year. She was 30 years old. It went viral because she was diagnosed with advanced osteoporosis after only using Ozempic for 1 year, right? So we already know how to naturally lose weight through things like diet and exercise. Is it easy? No, we all know that, right? But that's why people want a quick fix. And, this is really interesting. Something a lot of people don't know. There was a study done. It showed that people who are obese are actually missing a couple of crucial probiotics within their gut that people with a healthy weight, they possess. Isn't that crazy? And having these specific strains in your gut is what makes all the difference between being obese or being skinny. And I do want to say that it's not always due to body fat that people have big bellies. Bloating plays a huge role in what your waistline looks like. And kimchi, yes, kimchi has been shown to significantly reduce bloating. And that's because you have better digestion, better regularity. You're not full of poop, right? So kimchi has these special probiotic strains. In fact, over 900 of them. And that's why recent studies show how effective eating kimchi actually is.
Oh, I love that. Kimchi reduces fat or body fat by 31.8%. That's legit. It's
really
this rumor.
is.
Like I think people don't understand how important gut health is. It's like they call it a second brain because you have your brain here, and if your gut is all toe up, it causes all kinds of issues. But that is interesting. 31 and 0.8, almost 32% of reduced body fat. That's insane.
And it helps people maintain a healthy body weight, right? And no drugs, just kimchi. And it also showed a significant reduction in abdominal fat in women and even more so in men. We all know men as they get older, right? Their bellies, you get that dad bod.
Yes,
and
I know
women
that
too,
very well.
right? Just saying, yeah. But obesity is just the sign of our health. It's not the totality of it. And like you said, it all comes down to the gut microbiome. It really plays a huge part in addressing the root cause of all of our health problems, right? And so those of you who are unsure of what that is, it's basically an internal ecosystem that helps keep your body working properly. And when there's a disruption in the health of your gut, it triggers metabolic changes. So you store fat more, right? Which causes chronic inflammation, which then leads to higher rates of heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, cognitive decline, like, Alzheimer's, dementia. And so there was another study done about how kimchi is so powerful on the impact of cardiovascular health. It just goes on and on.
Wow. This is incredible. Kimchi consumption. This is a whole bunch of big words I'm not going to even get into. But the system review of meta-analysis. Let's see, intervention studies. So I'm not going to read all that because that's a lot of crazy big words.
I'll
But
sum
I
it
think
up.
you can
I'll
explain it
sum
for
up.
us.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, they're saying that consumption of kimchi was shown to balance blood sugar, regulate blood pressure, lower bad cholesterol. And, our core philosophy is that our appearance is a reflection of our inner health, right? And if we want to fix issues that appear on the surface, like obesity, you have to start at the root cause. You have to start within. And, the key to getting all these benefits and more from kimchi is daily consumption. And that is why we created Kimchi One, right? Kimchi is not something that's easy to eat every day. It's not in the American diet as a staple. But now it is because we've created these convenient capsules made for daily use. And, for those that are wondering, we use a cold process drying method, so it retains all the fiber and nutrition of actual fermented kimchi. Virtually no sodium, unlike store-bought kimchi, 100% made in the USA, all natural, non-GMO, soy-free, dairy-free, gluten-free. And what I love the most about people taking this and talking with them is the success stories, right? We talked earlier about, digestion and bloating. People had problems with that. They're not having problems. They're regular. And I have to say, personally, the first thing I noticed when I took this is my jeans. They buttoned up a little bit easier. And I was actually blown away that I could see results so quickly. And, people had problems with their immune system, right? People getting sick all the time, not really sure why they aren't getting sick anymore. Because, oh, by the way, 70 to 80% of the immune system is housed in the gut. Right? So supporting gut health supports immune health. And kimchi, honestly, is the perfect way to do that. And then lastly, people who experience chronic fatigue, always tired, just dragging, low energy, they have energy again. And how about the people with diabetes, right? Some of those, that's kind of where the whole drug, the GLP-1 originated, struggle with their blood sugar, blood pressure, and weight. They are experiencing a dramatic change. So it's all very exciting.
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because, it's funny because we got a little Kimchi One here at the headquarters. And I'll say this, some of the guys came in with a bad stomach and we had them take the kimchi. And God is my witness. I'm not making this up. An immediate difference. I almost want to bring them on camera so they could tell the immediate difference in how they feel in their gut. I've had times where I felt a little awkward in my gut, something I ate. I took kimchi, and literally 2 times of taking it, I felt tremendously better. So, you spark it in me. I got to be more consistent on the kimchi, but it does work, though. It does work.
It does work. It's really a miracle. It's just a miracle for your overall health, and it's exciting that we get to share it with you.
Yes, and I think you got something for my audience.
Yeah, so you can all get 25% off by clicking the link below and using code Tatum, but I would say you should call, and that number is 888-751-4429. And the reason is because you can get up to 50% off plus free shipping. And the first 100 callers, you're going to get a free bottle of Fortify with your order. Fortify is great because it contains all 9 essential amino acids to protect against cellular damage, helps retain muscle mass, because it delivers the building blocks your muscles need more efficiently than just eating a ton of protein. But you only get the bigger discount and the free bottle of Fortify when you call in to order. That number again is 888-751-4429.
All right, so y'all better call in. Ellie, thank you so much for coming on. God bless you. And
Thank you.
hopefully we could talk again.
Sounds great. Thanks.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, y'all better get that kimchi in your system. Ask Nick. I ain't trying to put him on the spot. Nick came in here with a tummy ache. I said, boy, you better get some of that kimchi in your life. And honest to God, as soon as he took kimchi, he go, man, that actually worked. It does. It works.